Now I'm just going to do a little analysis of my magazine at the moment. This design I actually really like. I love the picture and stuff because I was actually quite proud of myself for getting the lighting correct, considering it was taken in my bedroom in front of a white sheet that I project my games on. But it did work, and I managed to sort of make his makeup look quite scary and a bit weird that I did on Photoshop. He also looks a bit run down and rugged, and you don't really know whether he's a good cop or a bad cop or somewhere in the middle. He does look rather foreboding though. I think that the fonts are great. The Screamer head, masthead was half chosen by my target audience, which means that obviously they're going to like it and it'll stand out to them personally. The little drop shadow behind it sort of links to the little gradient that there is emanating from behind the picture there. Then we've got the Scream of Horror, Horror Top 50 quiz, also featuring in Blumhouse. Now those cover lines, I think that they're placed well, and they're in a good font that stands out with the line around the edge. Now all I need to do is with the Horror Top 50, I need to bring it back a little bit so that it's not quite touching his head. The same with also featuring, because that's not a convention of a magazine as I found in my magazine analysis, because you don't, it's one big no-no with magazines. You can't have the text touching their face, or if it does, it needs to be underneath them rather than on top of their face, because that's the main image drawing you in. Now the picture also has eyes staring at the viewer, making them want to buy the magazine and luring them in. And we've also got this free poster thing here. It tells you that it's a film magazine from the free poster, from the cover lines, and from the title as well, the masthead. Then we've got the barcode. I think that's well positioned. Now the font for the issue 666 and £2.50 could be a little bit smaller, but I think that it works. It's noticeable, and I don't think it's too much of a big deal. Then we've got the big title. Now I think the way that I positioned it, it really takes out the negative space in the magazine, and it really draws you into the schism straight away, which is obviously what you want if you're going to be on the front of a magazine. The colours. Now I have had a few mentions of that it might not be the most horror themed colours, but I think that the white actually gives it quite a maniacal, surgical glow. The lighting is very harsh and quite surgical. You'd expect him to be a mad scientist or a mad surgeon or something, going into human centipede territory. But I think that in this case it works, the whole white and grey, and I think the connotations of that as well. We get to know a bit about the character through it. The white is tainted by grey, which means that his purity and his innocence could be tainted. Maybe he's not such a good character after all. We want to know more about the character, and that's what's good about it. Now I like the date above the E as well. I think that that's really well positioned, and you don't tend to really notice it much on magazines from my magazine analysis. So they sort of tuck it away in somewhere that looks quite nice, and I think that I've done that quite well. Now the font for the sort of explanation of the cover lines, I think that they're quite good as well. I like the layout, and I like the outline as well. So yeah, they also link to horror films, especially horror films that I like, so Jigsaw, Annabelle Creation, Insidious, all that sort of thing. And I think that the blue tinge that I've put over it actually really works as well. So honestly, I think that is a top quality poster. And I actually have a record of Mr. Lee Winnell himself, who is rather high up in the in the horror industry. He made Insidious and Saw, and he wrote Saw, and he wrote Cooties with Elijah Wood, and all sorts of things he's done. And he said he'd want the cover. He thought it was really, really cool. So I'm going to take that as a compliment and think that, yep, well, if someone in the industry knows, then I must be doing an okay job. So yeah, that's all I need to do really, pull back the cover lines a little bit, and I should be good to go with that.